Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and I'm here on a Shito Mountain, a mountain in Taiwan called Shito Mountain. It's beautiful, just climbed the damn thing. Now I'm on my way down. And I want to talk today about the London Mulligan. This is going to be real. This is going to be permanent now for our Mulligan system. It's going to be instituted starting with Core 2020, which is coming up this summer, replacing the Vancouver Mulligan. It's going to be a part of all formats, including Commander. I'm very excited about it, especially for Merfolk. I think this is a great bonus for Merfolk. I think it's a great bonus for Magic the Gathering in general. My God, look at this place. It's I'm already in the misty part of the Shito Mountain, and it is wonderful here. Very good exercise going up, very fun going down now. Now let's talk about why I think this is I think it's very good for Magic. It reduces all the non-games. It makes all the games feel real. There are so many stupid games where you mulligan to 6 or 5, you have to keep it, and you don't find your land, and then you're just stone dead. And in Modern, you can't be in that spot in Modern. That is not where you want to be for Modern, because the decks are so fast, they are so linear, that if you miss one land drop, you are doomed. So like if you miss just one land drop, your opponent is so far ahead, you're never coming back from that. Nobody can. No deck can do this. So I think this is a very good thing for Magic in general, especially for Modern. I think it really helps for formats like that. The big thing that people are scared of is that this is going to be a rule that's going to be broken in half by combo decks. And you know what? We had the experimental period where all sorts of people and pro teams were trying to break this mulligan. It was done unsuccessfully, though, very unsuccessfully. You had everybody with serum powder versions of decks trying to break Modern, and it failed miserably. None of those decks could compete with just normal archetypes. All the normal archetypes won, and at the Mythic Championship, no one dared touch any of those super glass combo decks. So I think the mulligan is very real. Some people like to point to Neoform. Oh, look at Neoform. It's busting up, breaking the mulligan rule. I don't think that's true at all. I think what broke the Neoform deck was just Neoform in general. Neoform was the real problem, because even after we went back to the Vancouver mulligan, the Neoform deck was still performing. It didn't slow down at all. So it wasn't the mulligan rule, it was Neoform itself. The card was the last combo piece, Neoform in combination with Eldritch Evolution, which gave us the new Neoform deck, which has now, it's now the new like turn 1, turn 2 combo deck in Modern. I'm just going to ninja edit this in. There's also a lot of concerns that some decks like Tron would be put way over the top because of the London Mulligan, but that's actually not true. Tron was the most represented deck at the Mythic Championship, and it underperformed to the field. Underperformed, showing that even though Frank Karsten's theoretical calculation through numbers said that they would consistently get Tron, did not translate to win rate. It did not translate to win rate. So I don't think we have to be afraid of combo decks or decks like Tron abusing the London Mulligan. So I think it's safe. I think if any deck in the future is going to break this London Mulligan, it's just going to set up a new criteria for banning cards. I think it's good because decks like KCI would be discovered way faster, and they would just discover this deck is super busted, we have to ban this thing right now. Don't let people buy into the deck before we ban it, because that's what happens with these combo decks. KCI stays around for too long, people buy the pieces, and then the only thing that they can sell off after they ban it are the Mox Opals, and everything else turns to trash. So I think it's good that we find the busted combo decks fast and ban them immediately before people buy into them. Now let's talk about Merfolk. I think Merfolk will strongly benefit from the London Mulligan system. I don't think people realize how much we are going to benefit. Look at this beautiful The beautiful stream, beautiful rivers here in Taiwan. Not everyone believes me, but now they can believe me. Look at the beautiful river here in Taiwan. Rocks. I love it all. I love everything out here in Taiwan. But Merfolk's going to benefit significantly off of the London Mulligan system. A lot of people don't believe so. A lot of people wrongfully believe that Merfolk mulligans very well. A lot of people wrongfully believe that Merfolk is a redundant deck. Why do people think that Merfolk mulligans well? Well, a long time ago, back in the Splinter Twin era, back in the era of the old Scape Shift deck, the blue Scape Shift deck that would try to get to 7-8 lands and then combo off with Scape Shift, Birthing Pod, that was a slow format back then. Back then, you could mulligan to 5, and even if you don't hit your first or second or third, like if you don't hit your second land drop off of your second draw step or your third draw step, you still had a chance because the format was slow enough. That's not so true today. Right now, it's so fast. You've got these Is It Phoenix decks that will put 10 power on the board by turn 3 and hit you, and you're not coming back from that. You've got Death Shadow can also hit you with a turn 4 kill with Teamer Battle Rage. You don't have time to come back. Tron will very reliably get their Tron online and really murder you with something like Ulamog. Like, they've got really good top-end cards now. Tron back then didn't have Ulamog or Ugin, these cards that basically win the game when they hit the board. There's no room to wait, because a long time ago with Merfolk, you could take some time to wait and come back with some. When you hit your second land drop, you play your Silver Gill, you play your Spreading Seas, and you can come back. Not happening today. So second thing that I don't really agree with anybody is that Merfolk is a redundant deck. The only things that are redundant are basically the Lords, but things like Spreading Seas, Silver Gill Adept, Master of Waves, Dismember, Spell Pierce, Deprive, Aether Vial, they're all very different. They aren't redundant. They are not the same. They all have a different application to each stage of the game. So for example, and also I think a lot of these cards, Spreading Seas, Spell Pierce, the counter spells, they are more effective when you have more cards available to you. So Spreading Seas gets stronger when you have more Lords. Something like Spell Pierce gets more stronger when you have more creatures to protect. Okay, if you don't have creatures to protect, then the Spell Pierce isn't worth a whole lot. And what I want to get down to is that there's a lot of 5-card hands that are useless. They're not very good. They're pointless. They're not going to go anywhere. I think going down to 5 cards with Merfolk is fine if your opponent is mulliganing down with you. But if your opponent kept 7 cards in their hand and you go down to 5, you're basically dead. So you have 2 things. If you don't curve out, you lose. Simple as that. We just talked about that. But second off, if you have the wrong combination of cards in your hand, you're still going to lose. So let's say you go down to 5 cards and you have a hand with Master of Waves in it. Well, if you don't have enough lands to cast it, you're basically at a 4-card hand. And that's a disadvantage. If you do have the lands to cast it, then you don't have any gas in between turns 1 and turn 4. If you have, for example, if you have like Spell Pierce in your hand, let's say 2 lands, a Spell Pierce, a Lord, and an Aether Vial. Now you have too many mana sources and the Spell Pierce is useless. And what I want to come down to is that when you mulligan down to 5, the most important thing is having a proactive hand. You want to be less reactive and more proactive. You want to have some chance of winning the game. So the best type of hand when you go down to 5 is a hand with creatures. Just a hand that can put yourself in a situation to win the game. And you don't want any other garbage. I think I want less Dismembers, less Spell Pierces, and I just want creatures. An ideal hand at 5 cards is like 2 islands, Lord, like 3 Lords, or a Silver Gill Adept and 2 Lords. And that brings another point. What if you have Island Mutavault, 3 Lords? That hand is also unplayable. You're now again begging for another island, or maybe even 2 more islands so that you can one day attack with that Mutavault. There are a lot of combination of 5-card hands that just don't really go anywhere. They're too clunky and you're just going to get wiped out by the 7-card hand. So the London Mulligan helps us sculpt very good 5-card hands. the perfect hand with just enough mana sources and just enough creatures, and you throw away all the rest of the garbage. That's the point of the London Mulligan that's going to help Merfolk significantly, make it play way better in the face of mulliganing. I think mulliganing is super dangerous for Merfolk. I don't like going to 5 cards anymore, because I know that if I have a sketchy 1-lander or no lander, or like if I have a sketchy 1-lander, I'm just going to be stone dead if I don't find that land. But now we get to keep 7 cards, keep the minimum mana sources that we need to cast the creatures, and keep the maximum creatures or the right amount of interaction, and put all the extra stuff on the bottom. 2 Ether Vials in hand, put one of them on the bottom. If we have like Master of Waves, Lord, like if we have a bunch of Master of Waves, and if we have a 1-lander somehow in our 7 cards and we have 2 Master of Waves, we put the Master Waves on the bottom. If you have these 1-landers with Master Waves, again, you're at like a 4-card hand. So the point is, this is how the London Mulligan's going to put Merfolk in a way better position than it was before with the Vancouver Mulligan system. So I hope those are my thoughts on the London Mulligan. I'm super happy for it. I hope you're super happy for it, as I have articulated my thought process on this. Just take the Merfolk deck, make a bunch of 5-card hands, and see how unplayable most of them are. There's so many awkward 5-card hands, but now we can sculpt really good 5-card hands if we can take it from 7 cards. Anyway, this has been Nikachu talking about the London Mulligan for Modern Merfolk.